Will we be stopping for food? I would not mind trying something, and there are plenty of options.
You will be scanned as you enter the city. Please keep
We are headed back to MAST to talk to the man in the basement, who now everybody knows is just about as evil as you can be. I will have to find out if there's any consequences to my letting my two friends know who it was we were talking to. It's supposed to be a big secret. But to be fair, I never got that part of the briefing. I mean, she mentioned it, but there's a much larger emphasis put on it later. If you go back to the diplomat. And we didn't do that, so he didn't really drum home to us how important it was not to tell Andreja and Dr. Walker and Hadrian.
Authorized personnel. Stay here.
Yeah. So my first text option better be you, son of a bitch.
Well, what a pleasant surprise. When I heard you and Hadrian were headed for Londinian of all places, I presumed you must be onto something big. Did you find what you were looking for?
Oh, yeah.
How could you know? You're telling the truth, aren't you?
Yep.
You want to hear the words, then? I did it. The Terrormorph attacks on Tau Ceti. New Atlantis, my doing. Years of coordination between my associate and I, figuring out how to deploy the Lazarus Plant's pollen outside of Londinian, learning to synthesize it, use it as a weapon. Now, being as clever as you are, I'm sure you have thoughts on why I might do such a thing.
See, we could do the empath thing. We know from our prior experience with this that he did it to try to set up Hadrian as a hero. But I think there's revenge here. I'm going to go with the empath.
Oh, my revenge was far from petty, Captain. The attacks were a correction. When I discovered the plant, I did consider handing over what I'd found, but we were at war. And I couldn't risk information that dangerous falling into the wrong hands. So I ordered the bombing of the Londinian spaceport, fixing two problems at once. Halting the spread of the city's Terrormorph outbreak, and sealing away knowledge of the plant's potential.
So when I look at you, what I'm seeing is nothing but the wrong hands. So let's see here.
It's easy to judge now, but the Freestar Collective had spies everywhere. In that moment, I wasn't about to add another dangerous variable to an already catastrophic war. But then, as the war ended, my trial, my execution, I made a decision. After all, I'd given everything for the colonies. My life as I knew it included. And what did I get in return? Was there there any effort by the UC to protect my legacy? My daughter's legacy? No. We were sacrificed when all we did was serve. So I kept what I'd learned and arranged the attacks to set things right again. My daughter, she becomes a hero. I become a trusted advisor, having found Kaiser, the research team, and cement my new position of influence when I hand them the name of the person responsible for the attack on New Atlantis. The dear departed Dr. Reginald Orlays, the associate who aided me all these years, and whom I always slated to take the fall. What luck he was stopped dead before he could hurt anyone else. His decades on the run brought to an end by another unlikely hero. You.
So it would be unreasonable to assume that the UC doesn't record everything going on here?
It wasn't easy. But the beauty of being loathed is that people will do whatever they can not to deal with you. They wanted to pretend I didn't exist. And so I used their blind eye to my advantage. Still, establishing a back channel to Orlays via the UC recovery teams was painstaking work. I've led campaigns less nerve-wracking. They believed they were luring in wanted criminals, but were in fact delivering precisely encoded slates, filled with instructions invisible to any but their recipient, dropped off at just the right moments to fall into the proper hands. All without the UC realizing whom you were actually dealing with. Slow work. But as you can see, ultimately effective. There are no heroes without a villain. I simply arranged the opportunity for us to overcome one and become the other. And we all benefited. It's why I had Orlays reprogram Kaiser. Had that old machine guide you to where I found the plant all those years ago. I went to great lengths to ensure your and Hadrian's success. And look at the results. I know for a fact the Cabinet's planning to honor both you and Hadrian once this is all done. Isn't that preferable to languishing away in obscurity? Running jobs on the tail end of nowhere for the Vanguard? With only the vague hopes of perhaps earning the right to buy a home in the well someday. I'm simply looking for you to acknowledge the truth. And let's not forget the importance of our actual endgame. Eliminating the Terrormorphs. Securing knowledge of the Lazarus Plant. What we've set in motion is going to protect thousands, maybe millions of lives. I'm simply requesting one more life be protected. Mine. I've already sent along the evidence of Orlays' role in the attacks to the Cabinet, leaving out my own involvement. All I ask is that you confirm as much to the Cabinet. Tell them that it was Orlays and Orlays alone. After all, I do still have a long list of threats to the UC. This needn't be the end of our good works together.
So if he survives, and he usually does, he becomes a source of basically bounty missions, which I'm not really interested in.
Well, I do hope you'll keep the larger perspective in mind, Captain. We've done something great here. Let's not squander the opportunity to do more.
Okay. So he's basically a mass murderer. And I'm going to see if I can get the council to finally make good on his sentence.
Authorized personnel only. Your friend has to
What
stay
is it?
here.
Yes, let's.
Our next stop is to talk to Hadrian and Percival. I believe they're just upstairs. Just wanted to make sure they weren't on Mars or anything. Oh, that's right. They're back here in the back room. So, lady, your father's a real piece of work.
Perfect timing. We just got in. So on our end, good news. The microbe and the Aceles are both as effective against heat leeches as they are against terrormorphs.
Means either plan should work for clearing those critters off our worlds.
Considering what the Lazarus Plant is capable of, I don't think we can deal with those things fast enough. I already sent along info to the cabinet to get them up to speed. So what about your end? Did you find anything? Did my father tell you what he knew about the Lazarus Plant? I knew it. The second I heard that recording, I knew. Why? Did he say why he did it? Killed all those people because of a chip on his shoulder and an obsession with his own status. That sounds like Vivictus. Well, once we inform the cabinet, they can ensure he won't be able to do anything like this ever again. My hope would be that whatever connections he's got to the outside world disappear. Make sure his future schemes and machinations stay in his cell with him. But honestly, I'm not sure. He's in a unique position, and has done a special kind of harm to the colonies. Exactly. Bring justice to everyone he's hurt. So I guess that gives us our final answer. Nothing left to do but head in and see what the cabinet thinks of it all. Unless there was more to discuss. This might be our last opportunity to talk things through before the cabinet weighs in on a decision regarding the Terrormorphs.
So let's look at our alternatives. We've got basically a microbe or a large predator. I'm leaning toward the large predator because I've done the microbe.
Microbe is going to make the cleanup a whole lot quicker. If we're concerned about this Lazarus plant getting deployed again, that's the way to go.
The cabinet can secure the Lazarus plant, and then we're not risking any surprises when it comes to dealing with a microbe.
You're being paranoid. You know the science. You know we can make this safe.
I do know the science. I also know math, and a 1 in a million chance of a mutation isn't 0. So I guess we're still in discussion. Probably best at this point to let the cabinet weigh in, see if they have a preference. They are.
Microbe needed minimal adjustment to account for heat leech anatomy.
And the Aceles seem like they're even better at tracking leeches than morphs.
Hell of a sight to watch, though, when they catch 'em. Like an open airlock guzzling angry spaghetti.
Aceles aren't hostile to humans, but they are megafauna. If someone decides to pick a fight with one, it could get ugly. But they've already been spread far and wide once before when the UC was raising them as livestock, so the risk of introducing them to new worlds is minimal. Using them to clean up the terrormorphs and leeches, though, it's not going to be nearly as expedient as the microbe would be. Given what we know now about the Lazarus plant, the speed of the job does matter. But going with the Aceles, we're at least dealing with known risks. It's hard to know. Unlike my father, the cabinet aren't butchers. But killing UC citizens, along with everything else he's done, is unforgivable. But if you're really that concerned, you could request they be lenient. They might be willing to spare him.
That's the opposite of what. So I think that covers it. Everybody's talking about what the probability is. What is the downside? If we deploy the microbe...
And here we go.
if we deploy the microbe and something goes wrong, then we've got a mutated microbe spreading and it's very hard to clean up. If something goes wrong with the Aceles, much easier. So I am thinking the megafauna solution. And I will catch some flack from the more scientifically oriented members of Constellation, and even Andreja will give me some flack for it, but I can deal with that.
Welcome back, all of you. I wish we were meeting under better circumstances. But according to Hadrian's report, and the second one I just received, it seems the Terrormorph attack on New Atlantis was no random occurrence, but a planned strike. Is what I'm reading here true? This report comes from a particularly confidential source both you and I are familiar with, yes. Among the reasons its findings are so alarming. Now, is it true? Was the attack on New Atlantis planned?
My God.
An attack? Using Terrormorphs? How is that possible?
You will all receive a full briefing once we're done here. So then, is what the second report claims correct? Did Reginald Orlays commit these attacks, Captain?
Orlays? It's true, ma'am. I heard the recording myself. My father figured out how to use Terrormorphs as weapons.
He did what?
That's impossible. He doesn't have the kind of access to...
Clearly, he made his own access, Chief Sarkin. Madam President, I have been saying for years that not dealing with that man was gonna end in tragedy.
Enough! I hope everyone here understands that what has just been shared is a state secret of the highest order. This information does not leave this room. Now, that's quite the accusation you're leveling, considering Francois Sinon has not left containment for the better part of 2 decades. You have evidence to back this up?
Don't you record what was going on in those interviews? But I can give you the emergency recorder.
It just transformed. A Terrormorph out of thin air. An invisible weapon. No planet would be safe.
Heavens help us. Is that actually him?
I'd know that voice anywhere. That's Francois.
He knew they could do this, and said nothing.
He's a sociopath. Plain and simple, ma'am.
Officer, please collect that recording.
Yes, ma'am. Begging your pardon, Captain.
We'll, of course, be launching a full investigation into how this could have happened. Though I have little doubt the Admiral will be quick to share all he knows on the subject once confronted with that recording. Chief Yassine, can you send one of your interrogators to have a little chat with the Admiral?
I'll issue the order immediately.
Good. Combined with everything else you all have uncovered. Well, I don't think the United Colonies can thank you enough. We failed the people of the colonies by not dealing with Vevictus sooner. I intend to rectify that mistake immediately.
I can loan you a mag sniper.
That's truly disconcerting to hear. But cutting off Vevictus's contact with the outside world is likely to be just the beginning of his punishment. That will be up to the cabinet to decide. But I don't appreciate our mercy being taken advantage of. I'm inclined to agree, Captain. Now, with our villain unmasked, we can attend to the other matters at hand. With the threads you've brought together here, the Lazarus Plant, the attacks, the heat leeches, the 3 of you have likely spared thousands of lives. But it now falls to the cabinet to ensure this can never happen again. As such, the cabinet will be securing the Lazarus Plant on Londinian. All materials related to the plant will be classified to ensure no one else learns its true nature.
A sound decision, Madam President.
Secrecy is not the answer.
We're already discussing the elimination of one species, Captain. Explain to me why you wish to eliminate another.
Belt and suspenders.
They are ultimately threatened as much as the United Colonies. To share what you know and what can be done to make us all safer can only foster good relations.
That is an idea with some merit to it. Decrease the likelihood of anything like this occurring again, and further relations between our two factions.
Two birds with a single stone. Very well. We'll include the collective in the removal process. Thank you for the suggestion, Captain. So then, to our final topic. The Cabinet has agreed to implement a plan that will deal with the Terrormorph, and now also Heat Leech presence on human worlds. In fact, we've already begun enacting measures to check all UC ports and settlements for undiscovered nests. But we all understand this is only a partial solution. The project we're embarking on will be a long and difficult one. So our first step must be deciding how exactly this all will be handled.
Madam President, this microbe is clearly too much of a risk. The Aceles are the safer approach.
To someone with limited knowledge of biology, perhaps. The technology behind the microbe is solved science, Madam President. It isn't dangerous. Using it to wipe out the Terrormorphs would be the quickest path to protecting humanity.
And fast results always lead to the best outcomes, don't they?
As you can see, there remains debate among the Cabinet. We were hoping your group might issue a recommendation. Major?
We've been having similar debates ourselves, but the captain has yet to weigh in.
I see. Captain, I know this may not be your area of expertise, but we'd like to know your take on the matter.
If something goes wrong with the microbe, cleaning up would be very bad.
I'm in full agreement. No need be delving into unpredictable sciences.
The first step in a bold new future.
Bolder, better, and brighter. Well, I need to write that one down for later.
Order, please.
At least she didn't
And
dislike
Major
it.
Sanan? Dr. Walker, you'd find this acceptable?
We trust the captain's judgment.
Then the matter is settled. We'll begin the process immediately. Today marks day one for the United Colonies Terrormorph Management Division, making you three the founding members of the TMD. As befits such a group, the Cabinet wanted to display its gratitude. Today, we will be adding 3 new Class 1 citizens to our ranks.
Class 1? For the 3 of us? Are you joking?
What he means to say is, thank you, ma'am.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
You all have earned it. Now, there's much to be done. Major Sanan, Dr. Walker, I hope you two are willing to continue your efforts, spearheading the TMD's research on Mars.
We'd be honored, ma'am.
As for you, Captain, the Vanguard will be providing much of the on-the-ground support for the TMD. As a member of both the Vanguard and the TMD, I believe you'll have your pick of duties. Speak to your commander, Tuala, if I recall correctly. He should be able to provide you with assignments going forward, plus help you collect the benefits that come with being named Class 1. On behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our sincerest gratitude. This meeting is adjourned.
So, Class 1 citizen now. My goodness. So, Legacy Forged. Let me make a note of that.
Those officers we lost at the spaceport are getting justice, and that's because of you.
So this is the end of that particular quest line, but we do need to talk with Tuala.
The whole of the settled systems are in your debt, whether they know it or not.
Up the rest of the paperwork. And no doubt we want to talk to all of our companions.
Well, well, I've got to say, this is a first. I've never had a Class 1 citizen in my ranks before. Congratulations, Captain. No need to thank me. You brought this on yourself. I've already gone ahead and processed your Class 1 benefits. All UC goods and services should now have a thanks for protecting the colonies discount. And the credits should be in your accounts now. But to get into your penthouse, you'll have to pay a visit to the Aphelion Realty office. They should be able to grant you access. Higher-ups wanted to make sure you know how much they appreciate what you've done. But with all that squared, it's time to get you a new assignment. There are your standard Vanguard missions, putting those pilot skills to use defending UC space. Or you could help the TMD in cleaning up Terrormorphs. Oh, and I got a request from Dr. Walker. Wanted your help collecting biological samples to keep an eye out for any, new alien threats on the horizon. Any of those missions call to you?
So basically it's Radiant stuff. I'm going to take some time off. Aliens, I will come back for these things later.
Of course. You've earned some R&R. Once you're rested up and ready to head out there again, you come see me.
So what does that look like in our books? So we've got the faction quests we had before. So there's join the Freestar Rangers, the Ryujin stuff, and the pirates. We picked up the Trackers Alliance quest, and of course we can talk to SSNN. Let's go talk to SSNN about this stuff. As long as we are knitting up loose ends. Go to ground mode. Where is SSNN on this display? Like over here? And I am still in my alien hunting stuff. I haven't sold any loot, I haven't changed weapons, I haven't changed armor. I probably smell like Terrormorph.
You talk and get paid, I spread the news. It's a classic win-win.
Oh, I got a story for you.
My source is back. Here to report anything else? Really? To say you have my undivided attention is an understatement. A lot of people were there. The accounts we've got were chaotic. What was your role in that? Sounds like maybe you're being modest. Security isn't exactly trained for that scenario. But all right. The whole city is still on edge over the attack. We were fortunate, damn fortunate, that casualties were so low. What was it like in the thick of things? That makes what you did even more, well, amazing. It sounds like New Atlantis, heck, the whole UC, owes you a great debt. Any closing comments? I already have a good story here. That's a mouthful. A thankful you guys are around mouthful. Hey, Constellation? From all of us that live here, thanks. We use the word hero a lot in news, but you really are one.
Okay. The rewards for that aren't huge, but it's a cool thing. But we still will have that quest for all of the future interesting things. Why do we have a mission for pirate activity? Guess this is completed. So activities. We've got Barrett and Sarah want to talk. We do need to go talk to the lady at the realty office to get our digs in. I think we could just run to it. Oh, wait a minute. The realty is like on the other side of MAST, isn't it? Yeah. Hey, lady.
Never a better time than right now to settle down and make New Atlantis home. If you're a citizen, of course. Well, well, if it isn't the United Colony's newest Class 1 citizen, you've made quite a name for yourself in New Atlantis. In fact, the higher-ups want to thank you for your dedicated service by giving you one of the nicest pieces of real estate in the city. It's a premium penthouse at the top of Mercury Tower. Best location in New Atlantis, in my professional opinion.
What do you say? It'll just take a second to get you registered as the owner.
Let's do this.
Great! You're in for a real treat. It's one of my favorite apartments in the city. Okay, you're all set. Your new home's located in Mercury Tower in the residential district. You'll love the place. It has a gorgeous floor plan and an unbeatable view of the city. Now that you're an owner, I'm sure I'll be seeing you around town.
So they added some building materials to the cargo hold. And it's over here. I guess I haven't actually gone to Mercury Tower yet.
I've heard you've been making the settled system safer. It's not much, but take this.
Random gift from random security dude.
Definitely better than the last.
So this is the penthouse. We've got a closet, storeroom, whatever. Great room. Balcony looks out onto the planet. So bathroom next to the kitchen. Clearly bedroom with nice bathroom. And a balcony looking out over city. You have MAST, spaceport down there. And back here we have laundry and workroom, I guess. Decoration. We have a modest amount of materials. So if we've got bed, what beds do we have available to us? Nothing that really fits in here. We're going to have to learn how to make better stuff. least leave a couple of beds here. So got a place to sleep when we come up here, and I'll have to work out how to decorate the place. I think that's everything from that quest. So we're gonna take a quick nap and figure out what we're gonna do next.